Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin tonight with new developments. A Grand Forks man is in jail tonight following a nearly 30-mile-long chase that hit speeds of over 100 miles an hour. Good evening and thanks for joining us. It all happened near Grand Forks around midnight. Cole Johnson faces several charges, including reckless endangerment, fleeing, and outstanding warrants. Valley News Team's Neil Carlson shows us what happened and why police pursued him until he was caught.
The chase started 20 miles south of Grand Forks near Reynolds when deputies tried to stop Cole Johnson for a report of reckless driving.
Officers located the vehicle in the Reynolds area and vehicle refused to stop. Officers pursued the vehicle.
Grove says speeds hit 126 miles per hour on gravel roads as the chase moved toward Grand Forks. Here at 62nd Avenue South on Columbia Road, police were waiting with stop sticks, blowing two of Johnson's tires, slowing the chase as it moved into Grand Forks. Cole Johnson has a long criminal history despite the fact he's only 21 years old. Previous charges against him include numerous traffic violations, a concealed weapons charge, assault, and reckless driving. And just last August, Johnson was charged with possession of meth and refusing to halt.
Undoubtedly, he was going to hurt somebody or himself.
Grove says the chase was slowed to 70 miles per hour as it crossed 32nd Avenue South. And police say traffic was very light and they had intersections blocked off so other vehicles didn't get hit.
It's not as dramatic of a issue as if the person was driving 70 miles an hour on Cherry Street or Belmont Street or something like that. So that's one of those factors that the sergeants are constantly monitoring.
And Lieutenant Mackey says the chase continued to slow as two of Johnson's tires fell apart and he was driving on the rims. He finally lost control and stopped at Washington Street after covering the entire 6-mile length of Columbia Road through town. Johnson tried to flee on foot but was quickly caught, bringing to an end a fairly dramatic chase that ended without incident. In Grand Forks, Neil Carlson, Valley News Live.
Lieutenant Mackey says police or the sheriff's department, they have the authority to stop a pursuit at any time. He says in this case, because of many factors, including light traffic and the slowing speed of the pursuit, it was continued until the suspect was captured. The night before Thanksgiving is here, and that means millions of you will be hitting the roads and hitting the skies as well to get to that feast. Let's see how the weather will be for those heading out tonight. Hutch, what do you have for us?
Well, Stephanie, we do see a few flakes of snow showing up on the radar, mainly along and south of Interstate 94. There's nothing heavy here, but there has been throughout the day out in the western Dakotas some more significant snowfall, and it has caused some impacts on area roads. But first, basically Jamestown south towards Lemoore County, we're seeing some showers of snow. Also near Detroit Lake, some snow showers showing up on the radar there as well. The rest of the region, by the way, for now is quiet, but a major storm system will be developing in this area as we go through the overnight. Look at this. Energy lifts out of the Rocky Mountains and combines with some milder air to bring a chance of moderate to heavy snow in southern Minnesota, northern Iowa. And where you see the pink there, that's freezing rain. So anyone traveling far south or southeast could run into some travel troubles. We'll keep you updated on that here in just a second, but here is a look at your planning forecast for the Fargo area tonight. Temperatures in those upper 20s, gusty north winds, cloudy skies, can't rule out a flurry. By the way, if you are traveling, we want to make sure that you know how to get that road information you need. ValleyNewsLive.com. On the weather pull-down menu, the road conditions report there, and you can see the North Dakota report right now showing some slippery roads out in the western Dakotas and portions of south central North Dakota as well. Keeping you safe traveling. We'll have an update here in just a couple of moments.
It's good to be safe out there.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Well, more drivers on the roads and more people moving through the airports, of course, mean it's the day before Thanksgiving. Earlier this week, the State Department issued a worldwide travel alert for Americans. It comes from concerns that more terrorist attacks could be in the works after the situation in Paris. But here in Fargo, many travelers taking to the skies say they're aware of it, but they say it's not a big deal.
It makes me a little anxious, but again, I live in Enderlin. I drive up and down 46 every day. I work at Kindred High School, and that makes me more nervous. I'm more at risk driving on that road than flying, I think. So we're good.
The airline industry says this coming Sunday is usually one of the busiest travel days of the year as people return home from Thanksgiving holiday. A 16-year-old who was killed in a car crash near Jamestown has been identified as Bailey Stoppelworth from Kensel, North Dakota. That's according to the North Dakota Highway Patrol. They say the crash happened on Highway 20 about 6 miles north of Jamestown. Officers say Stoppelworth lost control of the vehicle on a curve of the frost-covered roadway, causing the vehicle to roll into the ditch. Stoppelworth and the 16-year-old Mackie Olson of Jamestown were taken to the Jamestown Medical Treatment Center. Now, Stoppelworth died in the hospital and she was not wearing a seatbelt. It strikes the perfect balance between American compassion and the safety of the country. That's how U.S. Congressman Kevin Cramer categorized the American Safe Act of 2015. He co-sponsored the bill that adds extra layers of security and scrutiny for refugees from Iraq and Syria, namely that each file has to pass over the desk of directors of the FBI, Homeland Security, and National Defense. But he says there are many more problems that need fixed here at home and says the president could be doing a better job.
We have our own priorities that we're not meeting, and we have to put everything in the context of those priorities as well. So we'll get through it, but it'd be nice to have the president on the team rather than working against us so often. He talks about Republicans in Congress in much harsher terms than he talks about our terrorist enemies, and I just think we need to get him back into the fold a little bit.
Representative Cramer was in town today in Fargo to talk about diversion plans with the city. 4.2 million people nationwide have gotten their social security numbers and fingerprints stolen. Anyone who has or does work for the government, including military members, mail carriers, veteran affairs employees, and many more. A viewer contacted our whistleblower hotline saying they got a letter from the Office of Personnel Management warning them their information was stolen in a cybersecurity incident and background check information was ripped off. Coming up at 6 o'clock, crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson talks to a 19-year-old who got a letter like this and has more on what action you should take. In tonight's Schemes and Ripoffs, a man has been sentenced to 20 years for an international lottery scam. Sanjay Williams was tried and convicted for selling lists of personal information to scammers. Names, telephone numbers, and other personal information was used in international cyber fraud with several victims in North Dakota. According to the Department of Justice, Williams sold lead lists to at least 400 other lottery scammers. Williams and other scammers deliberately targeted victims over the age of 55. In this case alone, more than 80 victims were identified while reporting losses totaling more than $5.5 million. The North Dakota deer hunting season is over, but that doesn't mean you have to put away the gun. Hunters have some new opportunities this week to hunt pheasants and upland game on a national wildlife refuge in North Dakota.
National wildlife refuges across the state open up to some other upland game hunting and some pheasant hunting opportunities. And these are lands that have been closed off throughout the waterfowl season, and they provide some unhunted areas and maybe some opportunities that hunters never thought of before.
Now, here are some rules to be aware of before you go out. Not all refuge areas are included, and regulations are very unique. The season ends on January 3rd. If you're in town visiting family or friends in hospitals, nursing homes, or the like this Thanksgiving, you have a place to stay. TMI Hospitality is offering rooms at 3 of its Fargo hotels to people in that situation, and the rooms are free. You'll need to contact the hotels as the rooms are on a space available basis. TMI has what it's called the Room at the Inn project. The idea is to help families feel comfortable when they have to be away from home during the holidays, to be with loved ones in difficult situations. Fargo hotels participating in the program are Fargo Comfort Suites, Fargo Fairfield Inn and Suites, and the Fargo Residence Inn. TMI is headquartered in Fargo, and it's been offering free rooms during Thanksgiving and Christmas since 1988. Months of planning, hundreds of hours of work going into putting together this highly anticipated, acclaimed, and award-winning Concordia College Christmas concert. But it's not all about music. There's another very important element of this presentation you may not have thought about: the mural. It serves as a backdrop for the show, and today the artwork's creator, Paul Johnson, and more than a dozen volunteers began the painstaking process of assembling the panels. The artwork on the panels help visualize the story being told through narration and song. It's called Minnesota and North Dakota Nice, an unspoken sense of pride that leads us to do things like hold the door for others and help a stalled motorist. It's not work, it's a way of life up here, many doing it naturally. And our willingness to help and respect others knows no limits, right? Not when it comes to respect for funeral processions.
I think of residents in Joplin, Missouri that grew up knowing what to do when they meet a funeral procession. It was just customary that you pull over.
Join Valley News Team's Mike Morgan as he visits a community where people still make it a point to pull over when they see a funeral procession and find out what Fargo drivers do when they see one. It will have you questioning your own funeral procession protocol tonight at 10. An unforgettable experience for a couple of students as they march off to the Macy's parade. That's still ahead tonight.
And if you have holiday travel plans, there will be some slippery roads out across the valley, and some portions of the northern plains could see ice and heavier snow. Your hour-by-hour forecast is straight ahead.